India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced that data centers will be given infrastructure status, providing an easier financing framework to the sector. Joining me today from Indore is Narendra Sen, data center founder and CEO of India-born operator RackBank. Narendra, thank you so much for talking to me. It's been such a long time. I believe it's been 3 years since we last saw each other in person, so it's great to at least see you virtually. What is your reaction to what the government just announced? I mean, this is quite a progressive move from the Indian government here.
Thanks, Joe, for having me here after a long time. Yes, government, the Indian data center industry has an exciting time. Last 2 years, a lot of announcement happened, like more than what we did in last 8 years. The investment happened in India. So we are almost 500 megawatt live capacity across India, total capacity in India, and half a gigawatt is under construction. The announcement is done by various new operators. They entered into India. Today's budget, Minister of Finance has given indication. They have given data center as a status of infrastructure. It means a lot. It will reduce the cost of financing, and it will be well supported by infrastructure investors, I believe. And in data centers now can go on REIT and take the lower cost of, reduce their cost of capital lower, and more deployment will happen in India. India is a large market. More than 700 million people are online, and these people, they are consuming a lot of data. And since this COVID last 2 years, digitalization is happening. The Indian data center growth is 70% year on year. There is a huge, demand, and there's no supply in all markets, not only Mumbai or Chennai, but there are other markets movers in India.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you before we jump into the finance conversation and what you just said about rates. I mean, that to me is music to my ears. So I'm gonna go on about that one. But just on COVID, do you think COVID kind of open the government's eyes into the importance of the data center industry? Because we've seen that happen, for example, throughout Europe during lockdowns, when the governments really understood what data centers do and how they support the digital economy. I mean, how this call is made by a data center. It's as simple as that. Do you think that was one of the reasons why the government pushed this out now? Or is there more things happening in the Indian space?
So Indian space, government government is aware about the investment which announced last year, and industry came together and represent that what is our challenges, and government is now trying to solve those challenges through introducing data center policy on the federal level. They have incorporated, they are doing the ease of buying land, the design change, and they are also allowing like single window clearance across India, all the state government and federal government level. So data center, the permits, which used to take 3 to 6 months, will reduce to 1 month. And government is going to incentivize this, the industry. If you are using a clean energy, you will get some benefit. If you want to build a data center park, they are coming up with a special, like there is a small SEZ, special economic zone. Similarly, they are coming up with DC data center park economic zones, which will be spread across India, and this will ease to for foreign companies to set up their data center in India. This is a fantastic move. They have taken the comment from the industry. Now this will become a policy in coming 2-3 months.
It's very interesting what you said. I mean, I just keep having questions coming up in my mind all the time. First, very quickly, just to get that on for like, do you think this is going to generate a snowball effect throughout Southeast Asia, with other countries also kind of taking the same approach here?
Yeah, absolutely. But the advantage with India, if you look at the Asia market, there's a China and India and Indonesia. These are the 3 locations which has the more population. In India, out of 1.3 billion, 700 million people are online, which is double than US population. And this is the first home market for large technology companies like Facebook, Google, Microsoft. Their maximum user base is India, right? And I believe that this is the driver to bring those companies here. And another biggest driver, which is data protection law. bill. It is tabled 31st December, and this quarter this is going to become a law. And this is like a GDPR. Like this, everyone has to bring back data in India or a copy in India. So this will also push this demand for the from 1 gigawatt to 3 gigawatt by 2025, and 2030 it is going to be 5 gigawatt. That's our prediction. And the announcement and the investment is happened in the last 2 years. It shows that this is a realistic figure.
Yeah.
So India will have 35 to 40 billion dollar investment in another 5 years in India.
Yeah, I mean, it's tremendous numbers. All the numbers coming out of India at this point, they're just huge. Even the digital economy, which is meant to grow to about 1 trillion just in 3 years' time. I mean, massive, massive values. But what you said actually about power and green energy, that's quite interesting, because this this announcement today, the government did not forget about going green. So they've announced a lot of work around green bonds to ease financing into green infrastructure, which will, of course, directly impact in a positive way the data center sector. They also talk about like a blended finance for sunrise sectors, which I can only kind of understand this as being new and upcoming sectors like the data center sector is in the country. I mean, what does this all really mean for the data center industry in the long run? And because you've also mentioned the REITs, for example. So are we going to see a lot of data center companies in India IPOing? How is this all going to change the monopoly that still doesn't exist in the full scope, but it's starting to gain shape with all the players coming in and all the players building from the hyperscaler front to the colocation side, and it's changing a lot. So give us a brief overview of what this means and where's the market headed in terms of composition and financing as well.
Yeah, so it is good for inviting more and more international. There are no dearth of large infrastructure investor in data center. Everybody is making good money, and this is one of the favorite industry for infrastructure players to invest in. So I believe this is the 5 gigawatt. It is not possible that one player will go and build all 5 gigawatt or 6 gigawatt. So it required a lot of players. India is currently having 10 players, 10 data center operators, and it needs 50 data center operators. And we are talking about only large wholesale and hyperscale data centers. But if you talk about the edge and retail, in every tier 2 cities also need data center. We are talking about the tier 1 market at this point of time. But India's population is spread across India. You know, what is happening in the US, like RackBank and other companies are spreading all across the US. And similarly will happen in another 5 years in India too. So, and the government is very supportive. They try, understand, and they want to grab this opportunity. Every state has a competition, and they are trying to bring new policy every other month or year, So every state government is proactive. They created a separate policy for data center, and they are inviting data center operator to come and invest there. And infrastructure players also have interest to join this league. They are traditional players who's doing office buildings and corporate, but they are now moving toward and trying to learn this industry. We got daily a lot of opportunity from infrastructure players, and they are interested to partner with us. They got a land, they got a building, but they don't know how to operate, how to bring customers, how to service them. There are a lot of opportunity in India. So it will commoditize the market, reduce the cost, and overall reduce the cloud cost for end user. And that's what we want. The cloud cost should be reduced because India economy is a cost sensitive. Our GDP per capita income is lower. So I want to store my images or 4K videos. So, but my cloud cost should not be like $5 or $10, $100 per month. It should be $1, $5. That's bracket we want to cater. So we have to reduce infrastructure costs, and that's the plan of the government. That government is planning in this way to democratizing the data center industry.
Okay, I mean, I just my head just goes is the word change. So things are really happening, which is really amazing to see. But of course, this came out today. This is great news for the Indian data center market and the overall Asian data center economy as well. But were you expecting more? What else does the government need to do? For example, over the last 4 or 5 years, when we used to talk before COVID, for example, some of the big challenges were always around land and bureaucracy and power. So question 1 is, were you expecting more? And question 2 is, what more needs to be done?
So I think government is, if we talk about the industry side, yes, it required a lot and lot more to ease down the doing business in data center industry. Like fiber connectivity is the biggest challenge. You can't connect your data center with another data centers. You can't light up the fiber. So those rules in being that rules should be there. So I think government is working on it, and it will come sooner. So similarly, government wants to support this industry in all the aspects. They want to hear from the industry, and industry people who is doing data center, they are talking with the government continuously. So it's a 5-year process. Every rules, what does the government come up with? It is for 5 years. They are now open to change every year basis on the demand, because this is the industry which is bringing a lot of investment to the state, generating employment and a lot of value to the state, GST to the state.
Okay. And Narendra, let's talk about RackBank just for a second, if I've got you here now. You're one of the youngest data center entrepreneurs in the country, and it's a big country, so that's quite an accomplishment. Give us a sense of where RackBank is at the moment.
So we started with with a retail enterprise segment. Now we move toward the hyperscale, and soon we are going with the edge strategy, which will share later this week or month, or development around that. But yes, we started with tier 2. Now we are in tier 1 locations, and our goal is to serve our customer in all the manners, whether edge or space, edge to space. So our platform is serve you here to edge location, to hyper location, to space. That's our vision.
So are you going to get into the satellite business as well?
We are going to put data center in satellites, not satellite business. Yeah. So up there, data center, so you can store data up there. That's our vision for that company.
Okay, so we'll see you traveling to space one of these days to go and inspect a data center. No, but Narendra Sen, founder and CEO of RackBank, thank you so much for talking to me. It's always great to see you and go through the Indian data center markets and everything that's happening over there. As for your home, thank you for watching, and do check our website and give us a follow on social media for more breaking and timely news from across the digital infrastructure sector worldwide. At the Tech Capital, you lead, we report. Bye for now.